Since the terror attacks of 9/11, the United States has been at war for 10 years. And as we have destroyed the regime of Saddam Hussein, that we have overthrown the Taliban, that we have killed Osama bin Laden, I wanted to ask you, what in your mind constitutes victory with our military operations in the Middle East, and what would you consider your defense spending priority as in the context of the federal budget crisis that we find ourselves in?
Well, with regard to the war in Afghanistan, I think that we have accomplished the goals that we set out when we went in the first place, which was to remove the Taliban regime, to punish the Taliban for aiding and abetting al-Qaeda, and to decimate al-Qaeda. And we have accomplished those goals. In fact, we accomplished those goals many years ago. We've been in there for about 10 years now. And we accomplished those goals years ago, and then the mission changed and became one of nation building. So now we're building roads, bridges, and schools in Kabul. And we're trying to install a liberal, pluralistic democracy in a 7th century tribal-based society. It's doomed to fail. And we are losing the lives of U.S. soldiers on a near daily basis now in Afghanistan. We've seen the results of how the Afghani people have responded to this inadvertent and accidental burning of Korans. They shot and killed U.S. soldiers. I think it is time to come home. Let's bring the troops home from Afghanistan. Mission accomplished. Not only, the most important goal is to save the lives of our U.S. soldiers, who are brave and bold and courageous men and women, but we have to think of their safety first. Bring them home and keep them safe here in America, and stop subjecting them to all kinds of violence in a nation that no longer wants us there. And with regard to budget savings with the Department of Defense, we can save $10 billion a month if we bring our troops home from Afghanistan now. The time is now. Mission accomplished.
Thank you, Mr. Scaringi. And Mr. Rohrer, the question goes to you.
Okay, thank you, David. As far as I'm concerned, when I consider, or I was, if I were a senator, I would consider these questions. I first of all consider within the context of my constitutional oath. In both cases, when you're talking about the military, we have an obligation clearly to make sure that we have a national defense, a military that's second to none, capable of defending the property interests of the American public, our citizens, and interests abroad. The military, the use of the military is to be selectively done. When our military is engaged in conflict for more than a brief period of time that's allowed, there must be accompanied by it a declaration of war. Failing to follow that procedure allows for undefined missions, undefined exit strategies, and therefore an inability to define what is meant by victory. And that's why we are languishing in places across this country, around the world today, both in the Middle East and in Afghanistan, because we never defined clearly, as far as I am concerned, why we should be there in the first place. And therefore, we don't know when the job is done, and therefore our guys are going to remain there until we pull them out. And really, this is what it comes down to. So anyways, that has to be defined. Now, as far as the military budget is concerned, clearly there are savings that we can find in our military budget. But when the president talks about cutting military spending in the budget by $500 billion, this puts at risk our men in uniform. This puts at risk the ability of our military overall to provide that and maintain that #1 status. And there is definite problems with this administration and what they are doing and how they're handling this. But again, my procedure would be within the context of what is mandated by our Constitution, because that is the basis for what we should be doing and how we determine if we've accomplished our task.
Thank you. Thank you.